It's a Podapalooza. It's episode 64 of For Our Edification. Thank you so much for joining me on For Our Edification. I'm Eddie Francis, and For Our Edification is your personal leadership podcast. Here we have conversations and we share thoughts about personal growth and development so that you and I can figure out how we can leverage our identities so that we can be of value to the people around us. Now, For Our Edification is brought to you by Edify Ventures. You don't have anyone leading your marketing and communications efforts? Well, don't put your brand on hold. Ask about Edify's fractional Chief Marcom Officer services today by going to eddiefrancis.com. Past episodes of For Our Edification also at eddiefrancis.com. But then also you can check out past episodes on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Now, on this episode, I am starting a series from an event that I did called Podapalooza. About 40 podcasters got with a whole bunch of speakers, and we wanted to find out more about what these speakers not only were talking about, but what kinds of problems they're trying to solve. And so it was really cool to get this opportunity to meet a few speakers and to interview them and to find out how they practice personal leadership while solving the problems that they're solving, and of course, covering the topics that they talk about. So the first guest that I had, Lori Osborne. Lori is a brand strategist, and she works with thought leaders to help them identify and clarify their brands. And then she helps them translate their brands into authority-driven websites that attract aligned clients and helps them also amplify their impact online. Okay, already, you know what I do, right? You know, I'm a marketing and communications guy, and I love brand strategy. So Lori had me from brand strategist. And so when Lori is not building powerhouse brands, she enjoys the coastal life of Amelia Island, Florida, alongside her amazing husband and two adorable fur babies. And I'm sure they're quite adorable. Now, after the interview, I am going to go on with a new feature, and that is Leadership for Good Thoughts that I'm going to share based on what I heard in the interviews. Now, if you like what you hear from this podcast, please let me know. You can like the podcast. You can rate it on your favorite platform, and please share it with folks. And also, you can talk to me directly. You can do that on social media. Meet me on my platforms. Facebook, you can find me, Eddie Francis Unscripted. And then also Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, Fanbase, all of those places, you can find me at Eddie Francis 06. Oh, and by the way, look for me now on Substack. And then if you just happen to be on my website, then go to the spot at eddiefrancis.com. Literally, go to the top navigation and you'll see a link for the spot. And there you can hang out in a group, the For Our Edification group. You can ask me questions and give me suggestions about someone's great personal leadership story that you would love to hear. And also, you know, we have other segments on the podcast. We have the Right to Bear Arms segment that Halima does, and the new segment, Higher Edification, where we talk about how those things, philanthropy and higher education, impact our lives. All right, that's enough of me. It's all about Lori Osborne. So let's talk to Lori. The views and opinions expressed on For Our Edification do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the hosts, guests, or any entities with which we are affiliated. Thank you so much for joining me on For Our Edification. I'm Eddie Francis, and I'm podcasting from Podapalooza. And so I'm very happy to have one of the great speakers from Podapalooza join me. Her name is Lori Osborne. Now, Lori is affectionately known as the Authority Amplifier, and she's the founder of BizBolster Web Solutions, creator of the Authority Blueprint. Lori, how are you? How's everything going for you?
I am doing great. I just love this. Podapalooza is so much fun.
It is
So
my
much fun.
first one. So
Oh,
so
is it?
it
Oh,
is.
it's
So I'm
awesome.
I'm getting adjusted to everything right now, and it's a lot. It's it's
It
it's
is. It
it's
is.
it's
It
the
is a lot.
it's the podcast version of sensory overload.
Well, you got like 40 podcasters and over 100 people in the room. And oh, yeah. But, this is their 16th one. So they've got it down. They can handle it.
There's a lot of energy too, a whole lot of energy.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Speaking of energy, let's talk about you. So, first of all, tell me about what it is that you talk about. I mean, what's the problem that you like to solve for folks?
I focus on helping people identify and clarify their brand first because you can't, because I also build websites, but,
Hmm.
but a website doesn't do any good if it's not on brand and speaking to your ideal audience in your language and to their problems. So we have to start with figuring out your brand and who you are and who you serve. And then we go from there. So that's what I do. I help people figure out who they are and what they represent. And sometimes I have to help them figure out who they're talking to because sometimes
So,
they don't know.
so, Lori, you're talking to a marketing communications guy. I just felt everything you just said. I felt it all deep in my soul, just deeply in my soul.
I love it. I love
So
it.
I have to tell you a very quick, funny story. So I've done a lot of work in higher ed, and there was one particular place where I was. When I got to them, I said, "Hey, look, I looked over the website. We got to work on that." And they said, "Oh, we're not worried about the website. We just need to get the brand out there." And I'm going, "So yeah,
No, no.
it's a pretty big, prominent platform. It's the first place that people go. So let's talk about it."
Yeah.
But talking about you, when you talk about the kind of work that you've done, and for me, I think a big part that lends to people's brands would be resilience, because we all go through stuff. For you, what setbacks have you experienced that have gotten you to the point of being able to help people with their brands, especially when it comes to doing a website?
Well, it's funny that you use the word resilience because I feel like that is my middle name. Like I live resilience. Most recently, what really propelled me into this business is I was diagnosed with a meningioma brain tumor, a
Mhm.
benign brain tumor, and it stopped me in my tracks. I was in corporate America. I was doing IT, and they can't remove the tumor because it's actually part of my carotid artery,
Mm.
but it was causing my left eye to droop. So they did surgery to get it off the optical nerve. They nicked the carotid, caused a brain bleed, caused my left eye to go mostly blind. So I ended up seeing double for like a year and a half and trying to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of my life, especially if I couldn't work. And I started dabbling and decided to create a website in Squarespace to talk about health. I called it Health Nut Like Grandma, long story. But that's when I realized I had a talent that I had never discovered before. And I was 45 years old and went, oh my gosh, I can actually be creative in my job and use the technical knowledge that I've had. And that was the moment that really it changed my whole world because that was the first time I actually found my passion. And that's what I've been doing the last 9 years. And I live for this. Like I could do it for free because I just love it. I don't want to do it for free. Don't get me wrong. But I wake up in the morning going, I can't wait to get to my desk. And on that note, I also have chronic headaches from the surgeries. I never have a headache when I'm doing a website. I feel
Wow.
no pain when I'm doing websites. So that just alone tells me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
How does all of that, the work that you do, and then your life outside of work, how does that inform your personal growth and development?
I think it just enhances. I already had resilience,
Mhm.
but I have really come to appreciate that part of me that I never really realized. I didn't lean into it before. And now I look at it and go, Lori, you can do anything you want to do. Look at what you've already survived. I've survived cancer. I've survived an 18-year abusive marriage. And then this brain tumor. I, when I lean into that, I can do anything. I can do anything I want to do. And I just have to know that in my soul, which I've really had to learn in recent years.
So on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever the basis is for you, the cadence is for you, what do you do to practice your personal leadership? Do you have any sort of mindfulness practices or anything, of the sort that really helps you grow and develop?
Coaching is very important. I actually have a combination of a coach and therapist. I actually found an ADHD therapist because I didn't realize until 2 years ago that I had ADHD.
Oh,
Had
me
no,
too.
had no clue, no clue. And now every time I go, oh, that's why I do that.
That's why I hate
Oh,
that. This is why I'm
yeah.
procrastinating on this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was just I just thought I just had this huge disconnect and I was very productive growing up. I wasn't bouncing off the walls, but I also learned that women, I don't know if you know this, but they did not diagnose females until God, what did she tell me, 90s with
Mm.
ADHD. They thought it was a male thing because we kind of hide it. We don't bounce off the walls. It's all in our heads. Because my therapist is like, how many thoughts do you have going through your head right now? And I'm like, oh shit, 100. I mean, at all times, like seriously. So, yeah. So, personal growth really, I do a lot of mindfulness work and a lot of meditation, especially to calm my crazy brain. I work with a coach and I do a lot of this may not seem like it answers your question, but I do a lot of networking because I feel like I improve when I listen to other people
Mhm.
and hear their stories and share. Like I grow by my interactions with other people. I need that.
Yeah.
Especially, sitting alone working all day. Like you need that.
Yeah,
So, those are
absolutely.
kind of and then I exercise. I have a pool. I'm in Florida and I almost say I meditate when I swim. I have a snorkel and I look down and I swim and I go into this state. I mean, I solve so many problems when I'm swimming. It's insane.
Yeah, it is so funny that you say that. Just this morning, I'm doing my morning walk and I'm just so part of ADHD. I'm kind of beating myself up because I can't get into the mindfulness thing, I can't keep still. But then I realized that for me, it is activity. So that's when my brain can actually function on a
Process.
pretty even level. Whenever I'm doing something, I'm able to do it. So it's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating to understand how your brain works, isn't it?
Ah, yes. I it,
Yeah.
it has been, I mean, it was funny to me that I've gone this whole time without even like someone just asked me one day, do you think you could be ADHD? And I'm like, I I have no idea. It's never even occurred to me. And I took this little quiz and started reading about it and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now that I've learned so much about it, it's helped me like the beating up thing. Like
Hmm.
that is part of our brain. Like we are so hard on ourselves and I just thought I was broken.
Yep.
But I'm
Yep.
not. I'm not broken.
Absolutely. So, Lori, what I love to do with my guests is I love to ask them this last question. And it is imagine that you are a skywriter and you get to go up in your plane and you get to write whatever message you want for the edification of the nation, especially thinking about your experiences and the work that you do. What would Lori Osborne's message to the nation be?
Wow, thanks for putting me on the spot.
Ah, that's what I'm
Okay,
here for.
I don't think it's going to be amazing because I don't have a lot of thought into it, but The first thing that popped in my mind was you got this. I tell people that all the time because we just live in self-doubt. And I think sometimes people just have to hear, you got this.
And
I don't
that
know if it's
works.
I don't know if it's enough going across the sky, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
You know what I love about it though? You never know who needs to see it. You just never ever know. And isn't it amazing that sometimes it's the simplest things that we say? It's almost like social media. You know, you do this social media post and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And then maybe about 20 people like it. And then one day you write, man, I really would love some Chinese food. And that gets like 20,000 likes.
Well, especially if you put your picture on it, because
Yeah.
your picture has more power than anything else on social media, I believe.
Laura, if anybody wanted to learn more about you, how can they learn about you?
Go to my website, bizbolster.com. And I would love to offer your audience a free visibility audit as well. We didn't really talk about what I do, but I do branding, and
Mhm.
I would love to do an authority visibility audit to see if how you show up online and if you show up with the authority that you wish you did. So I'll share that with you as well.
Absolutely. Listen, Laura's information is in the show notes. So you can find out all about her. You can go to her website and find out about what she does. And if you need anything, yes, please get in contact with Laura today. So, Lori Osborne, thank you so much for joining me on For Our Edification.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And many thanks to Lori Osborne for joining me on For Our Edification from Podapalooza. Now, to take advantage of her free authority visibility audit, especially if you fancy yourself as a thought leader, then you can go to the show notes, but you can also go straight to her website, bizbolster.com. It's worth noting that Lori does have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and she is a certified web designer. So let's end this thing on some leadership for good thoughts. You know, Lori, as I listened to her and I listened to her talk about her personal growth and development, her personal leadership, I think she really teaches us what it means to thrive instead of survive. This is someone who is a cancer survivor. She she was in a domestic abuse situation, as she mentioned, and then she's still dealing with the effects of a procedure to remove a brain tumor. Oh, and by the way, just discovered recently in her adult life that she has ADHD. She could just survive, but instead, what Lori does, what I heard, is that she finds a lot of joy in her work. And man, how important is that to find joy in the work that we do? So ask yourself, in the midst of adversity, where do you find enough joy in your work so that you can not only serve people, but you can serve people well? Think about it, and please enjoy the past episodes of For Our Edification by going to eddiefrancis.com, also YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Please like, follow, and share For Our Edification. For Dr. Halima Leek Francis, I'm Eddie Francis. Thank you so much for joining me on For Our Edification.